Considered to be one of the greatest rappers alive and possibly one of the greatest rappers of all time, Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., better known by his stage name Lil Wayne, is a diamond-toothed multimillionaire, undisputed hip-hop champion who entered the rap game at the tender age of 9. He's won 4 Grammy Awards and sold millions of records worldwide. His lived experience is unlike no other. Serving time in one of New York's toughest penitentiaries, Rikers Island, and surviving a self-inflicted gunshot wound at age 12. He's a lyricist like no other. With hit songs such as Lollipop, Mrs. Officer, and A Milli.
Doing the buck in the latest drop. I got stopped by a lady cop. She got me thinking I could date a cop. Cause her uniform pants were so tight. She read me my rights. She put me in a call. She cut off all the lights. She said I have the right to remain silent. Now I gotta holler, sounding like a siren. Talking about yeah, yeah, yeah.
No other rapper takes so much pride in their rhyming, and his wordplay can be thrilling.
She let me call her collect. But if she get greedy, I'ma starve for the debt. I got my top down. It's upset. I've been fucking the world. Nigga, I ain't come yet. You fuck with me wrong, I knock your head off your neck. The flight too long, I got a bed on the jet. The guns are torn and I ain't talking about a sketch. I play these niggas with a reality check.
With an incredibly recognizable voice straight out of the Southern Delta, Lil Wayne is universally recognized worldwide as one of the most prolific artists. His playful wordplay and often radio-friendly songs have elevated him to heights unimaginable to the average person.
Lil Wayne's one of my favorite artists because I think he's one of the most gifted rappers of our time.
A wildly inventive and revolutionary rapper, the breadth of his work is astonishing, ranging from hip-hop to rock and roll. He invented the term bling-bling at the age of 17 and has been name-dropped more than once by President Obama.
I think he's one of the most gifted rappers of our time.
With a whole generation raised around his unique sound, the modern wave of hip-hop music undoubtedly holds some relation to his original sound. Dwayne Michael Carter was born on September 27, 1982, and grew up in Hollygrove, a working-class district in New Orleans, a bustling city near the coastline of the state of Louisiana, with a young and hungry hip-hop scene, birthplace of hip-hop artists such as Ninja Crew, Gregory D, and Lil Mack. Growing up in New Orleans, he attended a school for the gifted, and as a child, dreamed of seeing his name up in lights as an international music star. Even at the age of 9, he showed remarkable initiative by hanging out at the local offices of a rap record label called Cash Money. While other kids his age were interested in playing with toys and watching cartoons, young Lil Wayne was focusing on surrounding himself with role models who could teach him to reach his full potential.
I think he was about 8 or 9. His mother was friends with this guy named Brian Williams, who is the head of Cash Money Records, who raps under the name Baby or Birdman. And Lil Wayne wanted to start rapping, so he started calling Brian Williams at home and leaving messages on his answering machine saying, I want to be a rapper. And he got a deal. I think he was maybe 11 when he got signed.
Birdman, a local rapper and executive at his record label Cash Money Records, was just the role model needed for Dwayne to reach his potential. Despite being just 9 years old, Wayne wasted no time trying to impress Birdman. He often left voice messages on Birdman's answering machine of his own raps.
Speaking to Birdman about Lil Wayne is like speaking to a father about his son. He refers to him as his son. He refers to him like there's a true blood connection. You wouldn't think that they were separate if you didn't know your facts, if you didn't know the info. And there's that real family bond but there's the respect for him as well with what Wayne's achieved. And there's also the label boss concern about his artist being treated right.
Birdman liked what he heard, and he knew he was opening his door to something special.
With Birdman, he's empowered Wayne as much as possible. I think he's given him the best platform possible. He's fought a lot of battles to make sure that he gets the success that he's currently enjoying. And that's within the boardroom, and I'd say on the street level as well. So.
When he's at his best, Lil Wayne is the best rapper in the world, I think.
Under Birdman's protective wing, Wayne flourished, and he looked to the older man not only as a mentor, but also as a male role model. Wayne was put to work. In the early 1990s, he began releasing records with Cash Money while still in his early teens. When talking about growing up in New Orleans, Wayne says, "Nobody ever looked at me as a little kid rapper, just a badass kid."
He grew up in a neighborhood called Holly Grove. He lived in a few different places, a few different neighborhoods in New Orleans. The one that he lived in most and that he most identifies with now is called Holly Grove. It's not a rich neighborhood, but it's not one of the poorest in New Orleans. His biological father was never around. I don't think he ever met him. Lil Wayne basically had a series of father figures apart from his biological father. He had a stepfather for a little while who was then killed, then eventually sort of adopted Brian Williams as his father figure.
The badass kid continued to morph into a major talent, and in 1997, his career path took a major swerve when Birdman formed Hot Boys with fellow rappers Juvenile, BG, and Turk.
Lil Wayne's background, it pretty much, Lil Wayne, as we know him as the artist, kind of started when Birdman picked him up. He kind of informally adopted him, he brought him into his home, he helped him, educated him about the business, he nurtured him as an artist, and Wayne was surrounded by other artists that were already starting to be successful in their own right within the Cash Money labels, people like Juvenile, BG, Turk, and other artists. And I think he's probably learned by everybody else's mistakes. You know, at the age of 13, when you're in a negative environment, you've got a negative situation, and your parents aren't there for you for whatever reason. And I think when someone like Birdman comes along, who is one of the most astute business people you will ever meet, only good can come out of that. But you're still not going to be able to escape the demons that you've faced in that 13 years of growing up. A lot of that's reflected in his music as well, and I think with a lot of the environment that he's seen growing up, you know, just because you sign with Birdman and a Cash Money click doesn't mean to say that you got it easy, doesn't mean to say that straight, you wall of success. You know, they had to work for it, they had to earn the success, and they've all come from the gutter, basically, in New Orleans. You know, the projects that they've all come from individually, inhumane environments. So they've transcended all of that, they turned tragedy to triumph, and it's reflected in his music.
Hot Boys' first single, Get It How You Live It, became a smash hit. And 2 years later, they set the hip-hop world alight with the launch of their innovative album, Guerrilla Warfare. It was around this time that Lil Wayne coined the phrase bling-bling, meaning light bouncing off precious jewels or gems. It's an expression that's made its way into the English dictionary, an example of how Lil Wayne's influence stretches across the globe.
Back in the day, you know, everyone was saying bling bling. Everyone was saying bling. If you got bling, who's got bling?
1997 proved to be something of a bling-bling year in its own right for young Wayne. It was a year that changed his life forever, and incredibly, he was still only 15 years old. Buoyed by the success of Guerrilla Warfare, Lil Wayne released his first solo album in 1999, featuring Juvenile and Big G. The album's title was The Block Is Hot.
Straight off the block, nuts in my hand, trusting no man, got my running that thing, you understand, and it be steaming, blazing, I swear them boys crazy, Holly grown 17, the spot where I was raised in, baby wasn't giving, running whether they pay it in the hood for the real soldiers, 24/7 hustlers, into the shepherd barrel.
Yo, Jude, real quick, what else is happening with Cash Money? I know you're putting a lot of people on right now.
I mean, right now the block is hot. Lil Wayne shit about to drop. I can't go no further than that. After that, I'ma come rap to you again, you know what I'm saying? But right now, the block is hot.
When he came with The Block is Hot, that's when he started to stand alone. And I think that's when you could see Wayne as the artist that he was going to become. Before, I think he was lost a bit in that whole Cash Money clique. There was so many artists there, so much happening, so much energy. It was really dominated by Juvenile for a long while. And I think The Block is Hot is when he started to stand alone.
With his foot firmly in the door at Cash Money Records, Lil Wayne began to establish himself as an up-and-coming talent.
Like we said, in the year 2000, it's gonna be all about Wayne.
And this a little nigga saying something about a little nigga. Look at this little nigga.
The block is hot, man.
Next week?
Next week I'll be 15. The block is hot, man.
As well as early musical success, Lil Wayne had an early taste of parenthood when he was just 15. His daughter, Remarni, was the first of 4 children he fathered. After the success of The Block is Hot, Wayne's name was hot in the streets. The 17-year-old's life would be changed forever. Cars, clothes, fame, and fortune quickly became the star's reality. Wayne had sold over 1 million copies of his album, rocketing it into certified platinum territory. This album ensured his future. Over the next few years, Lil Wayne built up his public image, appearing on a variety of televised shows such as Rap City and channels such as BET and MTV.
I mean, Wayne is in my heart, homie, and that's Cash Money for life, dog. I can't see him nowhere. Rock, whatever they, Def Jam, none of that. That ain't what's up with me. You know what I'm saying? I see Wayne is Cash Money. He the future. That's why he the president of Cash Money. You hear me? He got a lot of things he got to do. Wayne got a lot of expertise he want to exploit, and I feel his best situation was here. That's why I put it on the table for him.
All right. So what's going on with the Birdman now?
Hustling. Money ain't a thing, you heard me?
By 2003, Lil Wayne had released 3 studio albums.
In this industry, I think everyone just kind of respects when you've got a high work rate. I think everyone respects that about Lil Wayne, because I mean, there's even if you didn't like the way he raps, you would have to respect his work rate, because he's everywhere. And to be everywhere in a short space of time is working hard, you know. It's like he does a lot.
As a hardworking young man, he strived for self-improvement. Wayne's name was now scorching through the music world, and at last, it seemed like all his dreams were starting to come true. Wayne carefully cultivated his image, covering himself in colorful tattoos and undergoing major dental surgery, which resulted in a mouthful of diamonds and gold.
He physically has diamonds implanted in his teeth. They're not, it's not like they're just stuck on there like fake dentures or something. They are they're in there. They're implanted pretty good.
Lil Wayne's got tats on his face, all on his body, and his dreads. People do just want to look like Wayne.
I mean, you know, I don't know if Wayne's image was a conscious kind of creation. I think it's something that evolved over time. I do think that, you know, if you look at, you know, if you do study rappers, that's the one thing that separates maybe a major label rapper and like a huge sensation from an underground rapper. When you become this, to become this big sensation, you either need to have this, you know, larger than life image.
There were sort of a few lanes that you could go in. You know, you could be like the gangster, or you could be the mogul like Jay-Z. But Wayne sort of created this new personality where he could just be kind of a weird freak, which, you know, he would be the first to say about himself. He opened that up to a lot of rappers who followed him since then.
Grilled teeth, diamonds in his mouth. He's really got an image of like a rapper that doesn't care about normal society looks. He can just do himself. We asked him, why did you cover up a tattooed tear that he had on his face?
I couldn't say if he actually thinks of himself as a gangster, but he's definitely perceived as a gangster, you know, like he's, I think that's all a play on image, really.
I think it's not so much about his line of music. I think he is, I think that's just Lil Wayne. I think he loves being I mean, he has hundreds of tattoos. I think he likes to be outrageous, and that, you know, the teeth and the tattoos and everything gives him this sort of over-the-top image, which he likes. And I think he would probably be doing that even if he weren't a rapper. Like, I think that's just who he is, kind of larger than life. And yeah, I think it works for him. I think he definitely owns that.
Lil Wayne's unusual and uninhibited performances have made his stage shows the stuff of hip-hop legend. His artistic integrity and his eccentric Southern swag have made him one of the hottest hip-hop artists on the planet.
And I think with Wayne, he's spontaneous, and that's it. He's probably one of the most spontaneous artists you will ever meet.
And in 2004, Wayne released The Carter.
Step up to the mic, dude. Do what you do. Ladies and gentlemen, what you have here is brought to you courtesy of the young man, Young Carter, and the great man, Manny Fresh. So what I want y'all out there to do for me is say this, say go.
It didn't do as well as his previous albums, but it will be a start of a sequel that will go down in rap history.
Lil Wayne is one of the most gifted lyricists of our time.
Lil Wayne is I would say, a crazy genius.
There were sort of a few lanes that you could go in. You know, you could be like the gangster, or you could be the mogul like Jay-Z. But Wayne sort of created this new personality where you could just be kind of a weird freak, which, you know, he would be the first to say about himself.
It didn't do as well as his previous albums, but it will be a start of a sequel that will go down in rap history.
I'd have to say my favorite Lil Wayne album is The Carter 3, because it was the most anticipated. You know, I was on my radio show 2 years prior to that. Every week, it was the build-up to that album. Every week, people wanted to hear more and more. He was doing freestyles, he was doing cameos in other people's tracks.
The Carter 3 is, I believe, so far his best record. It didn't only sell 1 million copies in the US, it sold 1 million copies its first week.
And it just felt that The Carter 3 was gonna be that pivotal moment within hip-hop that year. It was gonna be the biggest album, no matter who was gonna come out. You know, Wayne was gonna do it. And even Eminem acknowledged that on his recent album when he was talking about he was jealous of all the success that Wayne was getting and everything. It's just the variety in the album, the variety of tracks. You know, the track like Dr. Carter, again, it shows his like real lyrical ability to be able to put the metaphors and to put everything together, and talking about what it takes to be a rapper is very, very detailed. I
would say like he's great with words, you know, like he knows how to play on words. He uses like puns and metaphors and, you know, similes, and he's just good at what he does. He knows what he's doing, you know, he's really smart, you know, really smart.
You know, it is genius. You know, rapping, it's modern day poetry, but to be able to think lines in your head, speak them, and then put finesse on it, and then, you know, the delivery, the flow, the context, and everything else, you know, I can't think of another musical art form which requires as much mental thought, you know. And tracks like that are just amazing, combined with some of the other party tracks like Get Money and Lollipop and so forth. And again, like I said earlier about Tie My Hands, where it's one of the most thought-provoking tracks.
Wayne continues to surprise his fans, like when he enrolled at the University of Houston in January 2005.
He attended the University of Houston, but I'm pretty sure it was an online program. And I also have learned that when you get to that kind of position, whether it's in the music industry or film or television, you invariably have a certain degree of intellect. And I think a lot of people kind of try to denigrate rappers by saying, oh, they're not really stupid. And it is a kind of almost a form of coded racism.
Despite earning high grades, not surprisingly, he dropped out due to his conflicting work schedule. By now, he was arguably the world's hardest working rapper and keen to get more involved in the world of R&B.
I
think what sets Wayne apart as an artist would be, number one, his work ethic. I think he, you know, a lot of rappers, a lot of musicians in general talk about how hard they work and they're nonstop, but he really goes nonstop.
Back in the day, Jay-Z's kind of work rate was the same as his. There were songs out on the street like nearly every 2 months.
He says it himself all the time. He wants to be the best, and he's a workaholic. He won't stop until he's satisfied with being the best and selling the most records and having the most popular concerts, and that's what he wants to do.
Wayne's ambition continued to motivate him. But even greater heights were to be reached by the hard-working rapper when his most successful and groundbreaking album, The Carter 3, was released in 2008, selling over 1 million copies in the US alone in his first week of release.
A lot of artists, I think, take a quantum leap. There's a point where you can kind of go, before this, they were good, and then after this, they kind of became great.
You know, the defining moment of Wayne, which separated Wayne from, you know, a great artist into the greatest, was the Carter 3. That really summed up his sound, his incredible lyrical ability.
No one sells those kind of records their first week out. So it was a phenomenal success. It was a huge smash. The way he set up the record was really good. He had his song A Milli, which was sort of there was no chorus on it. It was straight rapping. He was rapping very hard and tough. It was sort of for the streets. And then he had his song called Lollipop, which was basically all chorus. And it had a really catchy hook. It got huge airplay on Top 40 radio. So he sort of had those both. He pleased, you know, his longtime hip-hop fans, and then he really crossed over to the pop audience with that album.
Records like A Milli, like the furiousness and like the energy, he was like just a beast on there. Just a beast.
Millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire. Tougher than Nigerian, and my criteria compared to your courage is unfair. I'm a venereal disease, like a menstrual, bleed through the pit.
I can't imagine, you know, Universal hearing A Milli and being like, oh, that's gonna be a huge hit, but it was able to kind of take hold and become this underground hit. Again, it shows his like real lyrical ability to be able to put the metaphors and to put everything together, and talking about what it takes to be a rapper is very, very detailed. You know, it is genius.
It was really where he just became on fire. It's really where he like took lyrics to a different level, saying some of the flyest stuff you'll ever hear on any rap record in your life. And that's where I felt he became bigger than a great rap artist. He just became one of the greatest artists of our time.
The summer of, I think it was 08, I think when Carter 3 came out, you know, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it, you know, reverberating like heavy bass from car speakers. Even a song like Lollipop, which is kind of a bass sort of grab for like pop stardom.
I said he's so sweet, think I wanna the rapper. So I let it ride. Say I'm like a lollipop. She said I'm like a lollipop. She said I'm like a lollipop. She said I'm like a lollipop.
By selling over 1 million albums in a week, Wayne had become a rap superstar.
you know, he'd already been a huge star, but that's when he became on the A+ list. You know, he was a superstar after that.
It confirmed Lil Wayne as one of the most successful hip-hop performers in the world. Wayne won the Grammy Award that year for Best Rap Album with the Carter 3. But winning Grammys wasn't enough for Wayne. Following in the footsteps of his old mentor, Birdman, he went on to launch his own label, Young Money. The fresh new label was established in 2005 with Wayne as his founding president, which has already spawned a stable of astonishing new talent. As a fresh new label associated with Cash Money Records, Young Money collaborated on a joint album titled We Are Young Money as an attempt to establish themselves and introduce the new talent to the masses. The compilation album featured Lil Wayne, Gutta Gutta, Jay Mills, Mack, Drake, Tyga, T Streets, Short Dog, Chanel, Nicki Minaj, Lil Twist, and Lil Chucky. It also featured guest appearances from Birdman, Lloyd, and Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane.
She got that good. She Michael Jackson bad. I'm attracted to her for her attractive hair. And now we murderers because we kill time. I knock her lights out and she still shine. I hate to see her go, but I love to watch her leave.
One of Wayne's best-known prodigies to date is Drake, now one of the biggest sensations in music. In 2016, Drake released his fourth album, Views, which topped the charts for 13 consecutive weeks, making Drake the first male artist to stand atop the Billboard 200 in over a decade. Just like Wayne, Drake started young. He was once an underground hit, releasing albums alongside his acting career, while being a cast member on the Canadian TV show Degrassi, The Next Generation. However, with the guidance of Young Money Entertainment, he has become a household name.
How are you guys? Now, you are the gangster killer.
Yes, apparently that was my title. Yeah, I know. It's great. You know, I think this year hip-hop took like a different turn, you know, with myself and Wale and Kid Cudi. It's a certain brand of like genuine, authentic, I guess intelligent music. I think that Kanye opened the door for. So you know, it's great to be in that group, and I'm honored, you know, that I got to put on a suit and come out and have some fun. It's great.
Drake has been consistent with hit after hit, gaining major popularity with the release of his single, The Motto, which featured Lil Wayne and fellow Young Money artist Tyga.
Now she want a photo, you already know though. You only live once, that's the motto, nigga. YOLO, and we bout it every day. Like we sitting on the bench, nigga. We don't really play every day. Fuck what anybody say, can't see him cause the money in the way. Real nigga, what's up? One time, fuck one time. I'm calling niggas out like the umpire. 7 grams in the blunt, almost drowned in the pussy, so I swam to her butt. It's east side, we in this bitch.
Young Money has elevated several talented young artists. Nicki Minaj and Tyga are still hot in the industry. They are two very prominent artists in modern hip-hop music. And just like his old mentor, Birdman, Lil Wayne has stepped up to his new role as label boss. The latest addition to Wayne's stable of talent is UK hip-hop artist Jay Sean.
Well, I'm part of Cash Money, so I'm signed to the label, and of course 2 of my boys were up there on stage today, Lil Wayne and Drake. So it was just so nice to be able to watch them tear up the stage. And I just came here, you know, as a fan of music myself. It's just been incredible to be around such superstars, and I continue to get inspired by them when I watch them on stage, you know?
Young Money is Wayne's label, and I think the artists coming out of Young Money are gonna dominate hip-hop for the next 10 years. The sound, the style, and them as artists. Those artists have so much energy, have so much passionate fans, have such a relationship with their fans, are making some of their most creative music.
It was only a matter of time before some of the world's biggest stars were queuing up to collaborate with the Young Money family. Even rap legend Eminem wanted to collaborate.
To get two geniuses together on one track is a big thing.
If Wayne is feeling a song, he'll jump on it just because he loves that song and wants to be part of a great song. You know, he's not in this as a businessman. He's just, as an artist, believing in the music. And the music, I think, is his spirit, is his soul. And I think he just lays that open and bears that.
But despite his phenomenal success, Lil Wayne's fans began to worry about the persistent rumors of his alleged addiction to a codeine-based cough syrup known as purple drank, or lean. He once claimed he was so high, he could see a star. But while some fans were concerned, others admired Lil Wayne's determination to buck the system.
The most significant moment within the first interview with Lil Wayne was when I was talking to him about the fans being worried about him partying a little too hard. It was in reference to, you know, there's all kinds of rumors that he was dabbling with drugs. There's the whole thing about scissor, you know, the alcoholic and medicinal concoction. And I just said, look, you know, a lot of fans were a little worried that you're partying too hard. And he was like, don't worry about me. I do what I want when the hell I want. And then he took the drink and then slammed it down. And it was just like, and it was just the answer that he gave me. I was just like, wow. Because it was just, you didn't expect him to be so honest, and you didn't expect him to be, you know, so carefree about his own existence. It was kind of shocking. It made a good interview, but at the same time, it's kind of alarming that someone's going through that. And, you know, most great rock and roll artists have had them problems, you know, that as bad as they are, it also helps them become an amazing artist. So that question and that answer was kind of a very impactful moment, I think, for Wayne across the board. You know, everybody who saw it online, everybody who saw that was like shocked, you know.
Cough syrup's one of those things that you can't really go on national television and be like, oh yeah, I drink lots of cough syrup all the time. Also, there was a history of deaths from codeine. A lot of Houston rappers, rapper Big Mo died prematurely. A famous Houston producer and DJ Screw died and Pimp C of UGK died of a sleep apnea caused by, you know, he'd taken too much codeine and cough syrup that night.
I think Wayne said it all when he said, you know, what's in my cup is my business. But, you know, Wayne has a right to make his own decisions.
In yet another surprise, Wayne revealed to his fans that one of his favorite childhood bands, Nirvana, had inspired him to venture into uncharted territory. He was about to write and perform a rock album, which he called Rebirth, released in 2010.
You know, he picked up the guitar, taught himself how to play it, and made it sound beautiful. And I think him as an artist doing that was powerful.
That's sort of Lil Wayne's philosophy. You know, I like rock music. I want to make a rock record. I want to play guitar and get on stage and yell and jump around a lot and bang my head and whip my dreads around, and so he did it.
The album entered the U.S. charts at #2, becoming Wayne's 7th top 10 album in the U.S., and spawned 4 hit singles for the star: Prom Queen, Drop the World, Get a Life, and Knockout. As well as allegations of drug taking, Wayne hasn't always found it easy to shake off his Southern gangster habits, even with his new rock star image.
For a lot of artists, you know, they're from the street, they're still surrounded by people they grew up with, and, you know, they took people from their, you know, their own communities, people who have very little opportunity in life, people who are going through tremendous hardships and, you know, giving them a way out to earn money and support their families and show them a better life, give them opportunities they you know, wouldn't have experienced otherwise. And some of that hood stuff still surrounds you.
Wayne's gangster lifestyle finally caught up with him when he was arrested for possession of a handgun after a gig in New York City.
Well, New York is infamous for having something called the hip hop police, and they've had it for about, I want to say 10 years or so. It's a rough estimate. And you know, obviously Manhattan is a very kind of small place. So, you know, when a big rap star comes in to New York, it's pretty obvious. You know, there's only a few venues that he can play. So I think the excuse was that they smelled marijuana coming from Wayne's tour bus, which is like the most absurd thing. It's, yeah, obviously, if you didn't smell marijuana from Lil Wayne's tour bus, something would be going terribly wrong.
So they came on board and found a bag that had a pistol in it that was closest. It was registered to his manager, but it was closest to Lil Wayne, so they charged him with possession of a weapon.
I mean, obviously, Lil Wayne has the ability at this point in his life to have about 20 people to take the rap, but I think that, you know, they were out for Wayne.
People did feel like it was unjust, but at the same time, people thought that why wasn't there someone else in his team that could take the bid for him? But Wayne stood up and said that it was his, pleaded guilty, and so that's also put into the hip-hop community that it's good to man up to what you've done. And so people did disrespect that he had to do what he had to do for being caught with weapons, and that was go to prison for a year.
Rikers Island is one of the toughest prisons in the world. It houses over 17,000 inmates and has been home to some of America's most notorious criminals and some well-loved celebrities such as Tupac Shakur, DMX, and Sid Vicious. With such epic support from his fans, Wayne managed to turn his sentence into a chance to reflect on his success and his situation. Wayne reflected on his life and decided to make some changes to his lifestyle. While locked up, he had a job as a suicide prevention aide. From 10 to 6 at night, he walked the halls on suicide watch, keeping an eye out for inmates trying to kill themselves. Wayne's last month in Rikers was the hardest. He got caught with an iPod charger in his cell and was punished with 30 days in solitary confinement, a time he spent reflecting.
For somebody like that who comes from a life where they can have everything, you know, whether it's women or drugs or, you know, the best transport, you know, going everywhere in a limo or a private jet and never having to worry about anything and going to this kind of cloistered, dank Rikers Island environment, you don't have any music. And for somebody like that whose whole life was music, I mean, I think that's been the one constant stream. You know, he will just work and work and work and work and work, and that was his drug. And to be taken away from that and not have at least any other music, I think was obviously like had a major kind of psychological effect on him.
He's not the most patient guy, and that's one of the things that he said he worked on a lot in prison, was sort of learning patience and learning to not blow up when things don't go perfectly right away. I think he came out a better person.
Wayne was released from Rikers Island prison on November 4th, 2010, after serving 8 months of his year-long sentence. Since his prison sentence in 2010, Lil Wayne has taken a new stance on how he lives his life. He revealed that he is a practicing Christian and regularly reads the Bible, and maintains that his faith is incredibly important to him, regardless of public opinion.
He read all of the major religious texts. He read the Bible, I think he read some of the Quran, he read Confucius, he read the Tao Te Ching.
It's easy to see why this is the man who claims, "I've never been afraid of anything but God." For a while, Wayne started on the right path. He continued to put out music and released several albums that went platinum. His 2008 album, The Carter 3, has gone 8 times platinum since his debut. Similarly, the much-anticipated Carter 4 went 5 times platinum, selling over 3 million copies worldwide. Topping charts and dominating headlines is nothing new for Weezy. He's had his fair share of negative press, but he has also done his fair share of good. After the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, Wayne made several impactful donations to help clothe kids and support families in need. He also helped rebuild a park that was badly damaged in New Orleans, the rapper's home city, by donating an astonishing sum of $200,000. Every year for Thanksgiving, Lil Wayne shares his holiday spirit by giving away turkeys. The large amount of turkeys donated is estimated to be around 1,000. His charitable acts often go unnoticed and fall under the radar. However, he made headlines after opening a skate park in 2012 to encourage kids in the city to learn something new: skateboarding. The park was built in collaboration with the drinks brand Mountain Dew as a way to bring life back to the badly damaged city. Always the maverick, Lil Wayne never seems to run out of breath. Unfortunately, the young money millionaire's good deeds couldn't let him outrun his past. While on his way back from California, Wayne's private jet was searched upon its arrival in Miami, where the rapper now lives. During the search, authorities discovered a gold-plated .45 caliber pistol and 6 rounds of ammunition in luggage claimed to belong to Lil Wayne. But what did the father of 4 have to say about the discovery? Wayne told investigators that the gun was a Father's Day gift in a plea to help his case. The then 38-year-old rapper entered the plea during a hearing held remotely before U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams. The remote hearing was a direct result of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Wayne pleaded guilty to all charges. The charges brought against him carry a hefty maximum 10-year federal prison sentence, as he had a previous conviction related to gun charges back in 2010. Unfortunately for him, as a convicted felon, he is not lawfully allowed to possess a firearm, regardless if it were a Father's Day gift or not. He was able to avoid jail time by paying his $250,000 bail. However, he was effectively a prisoner of the state and had to forfeit his passport. Wayne has had a rocky history with guns. In 1994, when Wayne was just 12 years old, he shot himself in the chest with a revolver. For a while, Wayne claimed it was an accident as a result of him messing around, but he has recently revealed that it was a suicide attempt. Wayne's mother had requested that he should give up rapping. This came after she found out he had been lying to her about his school timetable. Wayne had 2 half-days during the week, but had only informed his mother of 1. All the connections he had made at Cash Money were to be relinquished, and his life as an ordinary kid surrounded by poverty was to become his new reality. After pulling the trigger, the bullet missed his heart by only a few inches and sent Wayne onto his back. Fortunately for Wayne, he had dialed 911 before the incident took place. 12-year-old Wayne was scared, confused, and angry. When the police arrived at his front door, the officers immediately ran past his blood-soaked body to search the apartment. Fortunately, when Officer Robert Hubler arrived, he heard a faint cry for help. He ordered both officers to help him save Wayne's life. No ambulances were available for dispatch, so Hubler took it upon himself to transport Wayne to the hospital. Whatever he does, it's clear that the multi-talented Lil Wayne is here to stay. In 2020, during his downhill battle against the gun possession charge, Lil Wayne was issued a presidential pardon by President Donald Trump. Trump was nearing the end of his presidency, and with hours to spare, he issued 143 pardons and commutations. Despite being able to live a comfortable life, Wayne has continued to work on his craft. While working on his album titled The Carter 5, he announced the name of his next project. The project, titled Funeral, would be his 14th studio album. Released on January 31st of 2020, the album of the year launched itself to #1 on the US charts. However, in the modern age of streaming, failed to reach the record-breaking sales numbers of his previous successful projects, selling only 38,000 records. The album pays tribute to legendary basketball player Kobe Bryant, who unfortunately passed away in a helicopter crash on January 26, 2020. In an interview with Vibe magazine, Lil Wayne elaborated on his new process for creating an album. He said he loves the difficulty of trying to fit in with modern music. He expressed that he's aware of the change in music tastes and is excited to try new things in the studio to see what he can come up with. Despite announcing in an interview in 2011 that he planned to retire at the age of 35, Wayne has continued to work hard, solidifying his name, not just in rap history, but in music culture as a whole. Whether shaping the future of hip-hop, speaking to his fans from a jailhouse, or simply proving himself the master of freestyle rap, Lil Wayne is constantly reinventing himself.